Welcome to Mr. R's art class. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thumbs, subs, and ring that bell. So for this project here, I'm going to show you how to take something that's realistic and simplify it into something that uses a single continuous line. So for this project, you're going to be able to pick a dog, a couple different flowers, a hamster, or a butterfly. And you're going to take any of those pictures and you're going to simplify it into a single continuous line. So what we're going to do is similar to the way that we took these rabbits in the previous activity, is that we're going to take something that's realistic and figure out how to turn it into something that's as basic as a continuous line. So we're going to do this whole process ourselves, whereas previously I gave you the continuous line drawing and you just replicated that. So in this one, we're going to start with the realistic image and we're going to simplify it through different steps. So you're going to pick either the dog, the two flowers, the hamster, or the butterfly, and we're going to do a couple different drawings and turn it into a continuous line drawing. The reason why we're going to do that is that I'm going to give you a piece of wire and you're going to turn that piece of wire into a wire sculpture. So for this one here, I made a wire sculpture of a butterfly. It uses just one single continuous line, but I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to take something that's realistic, simplify it, and then turn that simplified drawing into a wire sculpture. So we're going to do this whole process here for the next project. So we're going to do a few different drawings before we actually start making the wire sculpture. The first type of drawing is I'm going to let you pick your animal, your insect, or your flower, and you're going to take it and you're going to do a tracing of it. So you're going to do a tracing, then you're going to try to draw it on your own, and then you have to figure out how to take those drawings that you did on your own and turn them into continuous line drawings. So we're doing this process where we're taking something that is realistic, we're simplifying it, and then we're making a sculpture out of it. So the first drawing is going to be a tracing. Second one is you're going to draw it on your own. Then the third one's going to be a couple renders or a couple different drawings of a simplified continuous line drawing of whatever you chose. Then from there, you're going to take your continuous line drawing, and that's pretty much going to be your draft or your plan for your wire sculpture. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on that first drawing. We're just going to go ahead and trace this. We're going to put this drawing here on the tracer, and then we're going to try to draw it on our own, and then we're going to turn those drawings into a continuous line drawing. Okay, so all you need is a blank sheet of paper, your tracer, and then the insect, the animal, or the flower that you're deciding to eventually turn into a wire sculpture. So you're going to take a blank sheet of paper, you're going to fold it in half, and for this tracing, because you're tracing, I want you to try to draw all the details on the tracer. So you're going to turn on your tracer, and when I say all the details, I'm saying you're going to draw the antennae, right? And you're going to take your time doing this. And then so when I say details, I'm talking about all these different patterns here that are inside the wings of the butterfly if you're drawing a butterfly. And if you're drawing the dog, try to draw some of the fur. But because this is a tracing, it shouldn't take too long or too much effort for you to try to draw all the details here. So I'm drawing all the patterns here for this butterfly. And you would keep drawing all the way around. You could pick up your pencil, you could erase, and you may have the drawing here because you're tracing. So you're trying to concentrate, you're trying to figure out where is all the details, which details does this butterfly have, and you're going to keep tracing this whole butterfly here. All the details, try to draw it the best you can. Try to get as much detail as you can. Alright, so that's for the first drawing. So you just keep replicating the same process here, do both sides. You can pick up your pencil, you can erase. For the second part, on the second fold down here, pretend that that's all traced up. For the second drawing, you could still use the reference, but you're going to try to draw this butterfly the best you can without tracing. So you could do a rough sketch of what these wings look like, but you're going to try to draw this butterfly. You're going to try to compare these drawings to your tracing to this butterfly that you draw on your own. And so you would take your time for this one, you could erase. Again, you could look at this butterfly here. You could use it as a reference, but you're trying to draw either the animal, the insect, or the flower, whatever you chose, that you're eventually going to turn into a wire sculpture. You're going to try to draw it the best that you can on your own. Okay, so you could even try to draw some of these details that are over here inside of the wings. So you're trying to draw it the best you can. This is not a simplified one. It's maybe a little bit less detailed than the tracing. The tracing should have as much detail as possible, whereas this one, you're going to try to get as much as you can and as close as you can to your tracing. Okay, so you just keep drawing this the best that you can. Try to draw as much detail as you possibly can. And then after these two, after your tracing and after the drawing that you did as best as you can, you're going to grab another blank sheet of paper and we're going to try to draw the animal, the insect, or the flower using just a single continuous line drawing. So go ahead and let's move forward. So after those first two drawings, after your tracing and your drawing that you did of your animal, insect, or your flower of the best that you can, you're going to grab another sheet of paper. You're going to fold it in half one more time. You're going to open it up. And then on this sheet of paper, you're trying to draw whatever you chose as a continuous line. So you're trying to draw it as a continuous line. So you could pick up your pencil, you could erase, and you could look at your reference. So similar to the way that we were drawing these rabbits previously, right? We're trying to take that realistic thing that we chose, and we're trying to turn it into a continuous line. Okay, so for this one here, I started on this side of the wing and then I kind of came up here and drew the antennae. So it doesn't have to look as realistic, right? So this doesn't look as realistic as a rabbit, but it has to look pretty close. You have to look for some of those main features and try to draw those the best that you can, right? So you could pick up your pencil, you could erase. So again, you're trying to draw whatever you chose and you're trying to simplify it the best that you can, and you're trying to turn it into a continuous line drawing. And for this continuous line drawing that's simplified, you don't have to draw as much details here. You don't have to draw these different patterns. You don't have to kind of go inside here and draw some of the different parts of the body. You don't have to do these different parts of the wings here either. I just kind of want you to get a rough idea of maybe what the outline looks like of whatever you chose and try to replicate that on a couple different drawings. So this is basically your plan, your draft of what your wire sculpture is eventually going to look like. Okay, so once you feel comfortable and you feel confident that you have a continuous line drawing of the animal, the insect, or the flower that you chose, I'm going to give you a piece of wire. So this piece of wire is going to have some waves inside of it, and we need to straighten this piece of wire out. And so we're going to have our continuous line drawing, and eventually we're going to turn that continuous line drawing using a piece of wire into a wire sculpture. Okay, so we're going to set these things aside here, and you're going to get your piece of wire, and we need to be able to straighten this out here. And so you're going to have those waves in there. So what I'm doing is I'm gripping the piece of wire, I'm pulling on it with the other hand here, and it's getting out some of those waves. So once you have that, once you get all those waves out, you're going to do the same process. I'm going to give you a 3-foot piece of wire. You're going to get all those waves out here, and it's going to start curling maybe just a little bit. But once you get all those waves out, you're going to pick a spot on your wire sculpture or on your continuous line drawing, and you can start putting down little pieces of tape as you follow this path here. So this continuous line drawing is your draft, it's your path for your wire sculpture. So this wire sculpture is almost done here, but let me show you how we could actually apply the wire to our drawing using some tape and some pliers. So you have your drawing. So first thing you could do is you could get some pieces of tape and you could start putting it maybe on your desk, getting them ready for you to use. So small pieces of tape that are there ready for you once you're satisfied with where your wire's at, we could fasten it in place. Okay, and then these pliers here are going to help you kind of bend the wire and manipulate it the way that you want. Okay, so that might be enough tape there for now. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bend this wire. And you also have to think about, when you're making your wire sculptures, how are you going to fasten the other piece of wire to this end here. You're trying to use this whole piece of wire. If you need more wire, I'll give you more wire. But how would you be able to fasten two pieces of wire together? So I'm leaving a little bit extra. So let's say I'm done with my wire sculpture. I'm leaving a little bit extra wire there so I could twist these two ends together to keep it all together. Okay, so I'm leaving that little piece of extra wire there because I might need it. And so the reason why I also drew the antenna this way when I was drawing my butterfly is because I'm thinking of how I'm going to turn this drawing into a wire sculpture. So usually when you're looking at a picture of antenna, it's just a straight line. Whereas when I was drawing this, I was thinking of me actually using a piece of wire to make this wire sculpture. So yeah, when you're drawing maybe this butterfly more realistic, those antennae might be actually just a straight line drawing. Whereas with this piece of wire, I'm trying to figure out what is the wire going to look like when I'm actually applying it to my wire sculpture. So I have a piece of tape here. I'm fastening it so it doesn't move around, and I'm going to use my pliers here to actually kind of squeeze these two pieces of wire together. Alright, so I could put a piece of tape there if I want to help prevent the antennae from moving around. So we could do that. Moving it all around. You can move your paper, rotate your paper if you have to. So I got those other antennae on that side. You would grab your wires or your pliers. You could call them wire cutters as well. Alright, so moving throughout this butterfly. Again, so this is why we did the continuous line drawing, to help us be a little bit more prepared of what our wire sculpture is going to look like. So we're following the path that we drew out here. And then you would grab some tape, help you fasten it down, help prevent it from moving around, following your path. And you would be moving a lot slower than what I'm doing here. Put down a piece of tape to help prevent it from moving around. And you would do this whole thing throughout the whole sculpture, and it would end up looking something like this. So this is what it would end up looking like. And so this is that little piece of wire that I left there on the side. And so what I could do there is I could twist those two ends together. You could use the pliers. You could try to use your hand if you want. All right, once it gets really tight, you could start using those pliers to twist that part around, and try to use the whole wire. So I know I have this extra piece here, so you could either figure out, maybe I want to do a pattern to make this butterfly look a little bit more symmetrical, right? So you could either do a couple designs here on the right side, and then maybe do one there, and then come over here on the left side to make it look symmetrical. Or you could get this extra piece of wire, you could make it go down and come over here to the left side and make it go back up again to make it look like you have this whole middle part of the butterfly itself. So try to figure out, if you do have some extra wire, how to actually use it. Try not to be wasteful. Try to use everything that you have. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And feel free to watch any of the other related videos.